slip in your palm and a hole in your chest. Black coffee on the felt, man, you look like a mess. 3-team parlay turned to dust in your hand. Now you stare at the chips like they made you this man. But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now. Hold on, not tonight, not now. Hold on, let me pull you out. That fella bites hard, but it don't get the crown. Hold on, stay with me now.
What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you with Toadstool Sports Tuesday, June 9th. I still feel like crap, so hopefully we can somehow get the show done quickly, even though there's a full baseball slate. I'm going to give out 3 baseball plays. Yesterday was a pass for me, which probably was a good thing because my read on some of those games was not great. Red Sox did not win. Houston won if you went full game, didn't win if you went first 5. Washington won full game and pushed first 5 if you went with that one. Those were kind of my 3 strongest opinions, I suppose. Whatever, let's get into it. We have more WNBA Cup crap as well. I feel like I'm being maybe too selective with the WNBA, but I just don't like these games, dude. And then I'm going to skip the hockey game as well. I think I haven't had a play in the Stanley Cup Finals, but that's just the way that it is. I'm not going to force something like when it isn't there. So let's get into it. Seattle and Baltimore. I'm going to give out a play on this, even though it looks like I'm on a public side here. But I think it looks good to me. I mean, it almost looks too easy, and I don't like that the market read is going against this, but we'll take Seattle on the money line in this one. I think this is a mismatch here in various ways. The pitching throughout the game, I think, is pretty much a mismatch. I know Seattle did use 4 relief pitchers yesterday. They still have a couple of their better relievers available here. Baltimore is the lesser bullpen. They use 2 guys out of the bullpen, but the bullpen disparity is quite a bit here. Seattle's got a bullpen ERA 1.5 runs better, even though I range it by whip, and they're only ranked 15, Baltimore 19, but I still think they have enough of an edge that will take it full game here. Offenses are kind of comparable. Baltimore is ranked 11th, Seattle 12th, based on OPS, but I'm also looking at the starting pitching here, and if you want to go first 5 with this, I wouldn't really disagree with that either. It might be a little bit more of a price here, but this price, I'm worried that it looks too easy, but again, this is just the way that I see it. Logan Gilbert is pitching for Seattle. He's been really good. 3.79 ERA, 1.1 whip. He's been awesome on the road. 0.94 road ERA, which, again, doesn't really make sense because these Seattle pitchers, you expect them to do better at home because it's more pitcher-friendly. He's been way worse at home. He's been awesome on the road, so I think we can ride him on the road here. He didn't have a great outing last time out against the Mets, but he still had 8 strikeouts and 1 walk. So he is still in good form right now. His command numbers have been good basically the entire season. He's got more than 1 strikeout an inning, low hit rate, low walk rate. His home run rate is a little bit high, though. But that's getting skewed a little bit by having 7 home runs allowed across a couple of starts there in early May. So he did give up 2 in his last outing to the Mets, though. But I think he can pitch well here. He is going to go up against Baltimore, who they do have a good offense, but Gilbert has been good against them. 69 at-bats in his career against them, 174 average, 581 OPS, 21-4 strikeout walk ratio. All these numbers are good. So I think we should get a good start from Gilbert here. Home road splits point in his direction. He's the better of the 2 pitchers over the course of the season. It's not even really close. He's got good matchup numbers. He's going up against Trevor Rogers, who has not been anywhere near what he was last year for Baltimore, which is making last year look like more and more of a fluke because I didn't think he was going to do anything last year. I looked at his numbers before that when he was on Miami and whatever, and he wasn't good. Then last year he was shockingly good, but this year he's been horrible. 6.29 ERA, 1.51 whip, bad numbers. He's a little bit better at home, but 6.09 ERA is still terrible. Did pitch well in his last game against Boston. He did have a couple of decent starts in a row here. He's going to have to step up in class to face Seattle, though, after facing Toronto and Boston and Detroit before that. Seattle's a better offense than all three of those. He's got a low strikeout rate this year, a hit rate that's definitely too high. His walk rate is kind of mediocre. He hasn't been good. And his numbers against Seattle aren't really any better. In 39 at-bats, 7.7 strikeout walk ratio, 308 average allowed, 1,003 OPS. So I see this as a pitching mismatch here. I think we have the pitching edge throughout this entire game. The one concern would be that Baltimore is kind of in a bounce-back spot historically because they lost yesterday in a return home spot. And a lot of times when that happens and a team doesn't do that well in the return home spot, they bounce back and they do better in the next game. So Baltimore is in a positive situational spot in that regard, but I don't know if that situation is really strong enough. I think this is a big pitching mismatch. We're getting a cheap price here. We'll go with Seattle here. I consider leaving this off my card, but I don't know. I mean, it looks like Baltimore is kind of public. 80% of the tickets, 90% of the cash on them, even though they have the worst record. I don't know what the deal is with that, really. Seattle's favored on the road for a reason, though. Oddsmakers are telling you that they should be the better team in this matchup here. It does look like the money is actually hitting Baltimore here. I thought we were on a public side here, too. It looks like we're kind of not, but whatever. We'll go with Seattle here. I see it as one of the bigger mismatches of the day. Arizona at Miami. These two teams did not play yesterday. Miami is staying at home. They've won 5 of their last 6 games as well, so they're playing decent baseball right now. Arizona is having to fly in from home. They had yesterday off as well. So the bullpens are rested here. And I talk about this. When teams are rested, I tend to look towards unders a lot of the time because you get rested bullpens, so all the bullpen arms are available. The hitters can be cooled off a little bit by the day off. So I do tend to lean in that direction here. Arizona could be in a little bit of a positive spot because you usually are focused to start a road trip, but they are having to travel across a couple of time zones here. But going east is easier to do than going west for a late-night game. These bullpens have both been pretty good. Miami, number 7. Arizona, number 9, although their ERA is a little bit worse than that. Hitting-wise, these teams have not been that great. Miami, 21st. Arizona, 23rd. That's not exactly good. And this is a pitcher-friendly ballpark here. Low total here, too. So there are some aspects of this that do kind of make this look like it could be an under. Zach Gallen is pitching for Arizona. He's had bad numbers, though. 5.32 ERA. 1.52 whip. He's been really bad on the road. 7.57 road ERA, which doesn't really make sense because Arizona's a hitter-friendly ballpark, but he's way better at home. It's the way that it is. Maybe he'll pitch better here because it's a pitcher-friendly park, but I don't know. He had a low strikeout rate in his last 2 starts. That's a little bit of a red flag there. His strikeout rate on the season is actually really low, and his hit rate is really high, and his walk rate isn't that great either. So these overall numbers do not look good. Miami, though, doesn't hit him well. They only have 12 at-bats against him. Only 4 of their hitters have ever faced him. They have a 167 average, no extra base hits, 500 OPS, 5-3 strikeout walk ratio. It's such a small sample, there's not a whole lot you can do with that. But maybe he does have a little bit of an advantage here because it is against an offense that doesn't have familiarity with them. They haven't really hit him well when they've seen him. This is a pitcher-friendly park, and Max Meyer is pitching for Miami. You know, I think he's good. 2.81 ERA, 1.05 whip. He's been really good this season. He's been really good at home. 1.79 home ERA. Pitched really well in his last game on the road at Washington. Miami's won a bunch of his starts recently. They've won 6 of his last 7 starts. The one start they didn't win was a start where he gave up 5 earned runs against the Mets, but his pitching line still wasn't really that bad, other than the fact that his walk number went up a little bit. Season-wide numbers are really good. His hit rate is really low. His strikeout rate is high. His walk rate is okay. Numbers against, I already forget who we're talking about here. Who are we talking about? Arizona. I don't know why. My mind just doesn't work that way anymore. His numbers against Arizona, believe it or not, are actually not good. They have 5 hitters who have faced him. 13 at-bats, 385 average, 1,044 OPS, 5.1 strikeout walk ratio. Does that mean I actually think Meyer's going to pitch poorly here? No, not really. This is just such a small sample size, and I don't believe it was this year. So I think you have to take that with a bit of a grain of salt. I don't think he's going to pitch that poorly. I think the under might be the way to look at this game. Again, it's a situation that at least sets up for it because you have two decent bullpens that are rested here. Money looks like it's hitting the over. I don't really agree with that. 83% of tickets, 93% of the cash on the over. The total is low, 7.5. It's low for a reason, man. I think both pitchers could actually maybe get the job done here. So I would lean under, but I don't have a good gauge on this game, really. Arizona's getting the money, it looks like, for whatever reason. 61% of tickets, 81% of the cash on Arizona. I mean, I did just show you Gallon at least does have better matchup numbers here. So, I mean, I guess you could potentially take a shot with Arizona. Miami's around minus 130 here. I don't really want to fade Max Meyer, though. Although maybe this could potentially be a spot where maybe you could do that. But you don't want to weigh these matchup numbers that heavily because there's such a small sample size. So, Gerald, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. I feel like crap. My sore throat has turned into the sinus part of this whole thing. Now it's not going well. Also, the Red Sox lost, so that's not going well either. They're playing against Tampa again today. Red Sox lost 3-1 yesterday. So yet again, the Red Sox offense is their downfall again. Good pitching from the Red Sox yesterday. Bad hitting. They used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. They do have the better bullpen. Tampa Bay had a bullpen game yesterday, so they used 6 relief pitchers yesterday. So the Red Sox should have a bullpen advantage again here. They're ranked 3rd in bullpen. Tampa Bay is 17th, and their ERA is significantly higher than the Red Sox. Red Sox have a struggling offense. They're 25th after they did go on a little bit of a run, but now they're playing poorly again. Tampa Bay 14th in offense, so Tampa Bay does have the better hitting. Red Sox have the pitcher with more upside in this game, I would say. They have the much younger, probably higher ceiling, like I said, pitcher here, Peyton Tolley. He's been good. 2.28 ERA, 0.97 whip. I saw some metrics. I think it was like some of the advanced analytics that put him like upper echelon pitchers this season, which is a good sign. He doesn't have significant home road splits. His ERA is almost exactly the same, home and away. Pitched well last time out against Baltimore, shut them out after he had kind of a shaky start the previous start against Atlanta. He still hasn't allowed more than 3 earned runs in any start this season. He's got a high strikeout rate, low hit rate, and his walk rate isn't too bad either. Numbers against Tampa Bay, though, they've faced him. He actually pitched well against them earlier this season. In Fenway, he had an outing where he went 5 innings, allowed 1 earned run on 6 hits, 4 strikeouts, no walks. So he was not bad in that outing, but his career numbers against Tampa must include some really bad start last year or something because his numbers are not good against them. It's a very small sample, 18 at bats, so maybe you shouldn't put too much weight into this. 389 batting average, though, 944 OPS, 2.0 strikeout walk ratio. That doesn't look that great. And Tampa is one of the more familiar teams with him in the league so far. So a lot of times you have these younger pitchers, they do better when they're unfamiliar to their opponent, and he's not very unfamiliar to Tampa. Nick Martinez is pitching for Tampa, much older dude, but he is having a good season. 2.29 ERA, 1.19 whip. He's been worse at home, but 2.86 ERA is not exactly bad. Wasn't good in his last start, though, against Detroit. There are some red flags in here. I mean, pitching poorly against Detroit is not a good thing because they're not a good offense. 2 of his last 3 outings, he only had 1 strikeout. That's not a good sign either. So his strikeout rate is kind of low. It's actually really low on the season. He's not striking out anybody. He's allowed more than 1 hit per inning as well, but his walk rate is quite low. He's been all right, but he does not really go out there and blow guys away. Red Sox have hit him well in the past, 58 at bats, 328 average, 839 OPS, 9.1 strikeout walk ratio, and they faced him earlier this year, but he actually pitched okay in Fenway. He went 5 2/3, gave up 1 earned run on 7 hits, though. 3 strikeouts, no walks. So he was okay in that outing. I think Tolley is probably the better pitcher, though. Like, if I was going to pick a side, I think I probably would lean to the Red Sox again here slightly. I think an over could potentially be worth a look here, though. The money's coming in on Tampa. I don't really know why, because the Red Sox initially did move to a favorite here. So the favorite flipped to the Red Sox, which is usually some indicator. But we have 54% of the tickets on the Red Sox, 56% of the cash on Tampa. I don't really buy that, though. I don't think the public is coming in and playing the Red Sox here. I wouldn't think so, because their record is just bad. They're 11.5 games behind Tampa Bay, so I don't really see that really being the case here. The odds makers, I think, are telling you something, like I said yesterday, by lining the Red Sox as a favorite. But I thought the Red Sox had a better matchup edge yesterday with a good young starter against a bullpen game, and they still couldn't get it done. I think, like I said, an over might actually be worth considering here, because both starting pitchers are familiar to the opposing hitters, and they both have bad matchup numbers. And there's not much leeway here with a total of 7.5. Usually, I know 7.5 odds makers are telling you they think it's going to be a pitching duel. They think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I could see this going over. Tampa Bay's bullpen is like completely shot here too. So that might actually be my preference in this game, is to just go over, but this is not going to be a play for me. I could see both pitchers doing well here too, because they both have done well on the season, obviously. So obviously there's still a decent chance they pitch well. Excuse me. We have 63% of tickets, 61% of the cash on the under. So the money looks like it is indicating towards the over. Kyle, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. Next game is Dodgers and Pirates. These teams were off yesterday. Pittsburgh is returning home. They went to Houston and Atlanta, got swept by Atlanta. You know, I do talk about when a team returns home from the road, it's a bad spot. Generally, you have to get back to home life. It can be a distraction, but I think the fact that they're playing the Dodgers might keep them focused enough here, but I would say it's still a negative for Pittsburgh, enough that I don't think I really want to get involved in this game. Dodgers are having to travel, though. They're coming in from L.A., so they do have a day off, but having to travel across multiple time zones can be a little bit difficult, although, again, starting a road trip, like I said with Arizona, sometimes is a positive spot here. Dodgers are number 1 in offense, Pittsburgh number 6, Dodgers number 2 in bullpen, although their ERA has actually gone up, so maybe they're not really the number 2 bullpen here. Still better than Pittsburgh, who is 16th, better ERA than they have as well. Now, looking at this pitching matchup, though, this looks like the starting pitching matchup has to be an edge for Pittsburgh here. Eric Lauer is pitching for the Dodgers. They just picked him up off the scrap heap not too long ago after Toronto got rid of him. He hasn't been good this season. Most of these numbers with Toronto, though, 5.74 ERA, 1.38 whip. He was pretty good for Toronto last year, but this year he was just not doing well. His road numbers are not great either, 5.57 road ERA. He is a little bit better on the road, but that's still pretty bad. And Pittsburgh is a good offense at home. Lauer has made 2 starts with the Dodgers here. I don't know why this says he was acquired between these last 2. These were both with the Dodgers, I'm pretty sure. He had 1 good start at home against Colorado, and then he had a pretty shaky start in his last start on the road against Arizona. I think this is more comparable to that Arizona start, because he is going to a road environment that's not going to be very pitcher-friendly. Going up against Pittsburgh here, I hate how ESPN does not switch these. He's got bad numbers against Pittsburgh. 41 at-bats. They only have 6 hitters who have faced him, but they've all done damage pretty much. 366 batting average, 1127 OPS, 8.2 strikeout walk ratio. So Lauer does not look like he sets up very well here. And he has to go up against Paul Skeens, who is the better of these 2 pitchers, obviously. 3.09 ERA, 0.91 whip. He's been good at home, 2.5 home ERA. You expect that his ERA on the season should be in the 2s as well. I think maybe at some point it will be. He's been a little bit shaky, though, over his last 4 starts. In fact, Pittsburgh has lost all 4 of them. Not entirely his fault, but he did allow too many runs in a couple of them. But I think he's probably going to get back into form here. I mean, he's Skeens. He's got a high strikeout rate, low walk rate, really low hit rate. We know that he's really good, obviously. His numbers against the Dodgers, hard-hitting lineup, but Skeens has done pretty well against them in the past. 62 at-bats, 17 strikeouts, 2 walks, 210 average, 670 OPS. So even though I don't love to jump on teams that are in the return home spot, and that's kind of the reason why I'm avoiding this, You're not going to get Skeens at a cheap price like this very often, dude. 64% of tickets, 78% of the cash on Pittsburgh. They're around minus 112. I would lean to Pittsburgh here. Again, I don't love the spot in the return home spot. I think I would actually play it first 5, but if you do that, you have to pay a little bit extra in the first 5 because obviously the odds makers, they know that the biggest edge Pittsburgh has is the starting pitching matchup. So you're probably going to have to lay a bigger money line on that, but I think that's the way I would do it, is Pittsburgh first 5 money line. I think you have an edge there with Skeens over Lauer, so that's the way I would look at that game. Next game up is going to be another play for me. We better get some wins here today, man. This next game, I think this is going to be an under-the-radar type of play here. Twins and Tigers. I'm going to go under 4.5 in the first 5 innings here with this pitching matchup here. And it might sound crazy, like nobody's going to want to play an under in a game like this. But as I already pointed out, you have 2 teams that are the 2 teams that were off yesterday, excuse me. So I think when that happens, the bats can kind of cool off a little bit. You get rested bullpens here. I know I'm cutting the bullpens out anyway because I don't like these bullpens at all. Like, I don't think you could, you do not want to risk having Minnesota's bullpen in here. They're 28th in bullpen, very bad. Detroit 21st, so I'm just going to cut them out. These offenses have struggled. Detroit 23rd, Minnesota 19th, so I think we could fade these offenses here. And I like the starting pitching here. Looking at the scheduling spot, by the way, Detroit is hot right now. They are staying at home. They have been hitting a little bit better. Got to give them that. They've won 5 of their last 6 games. Their offensive numbers have improved a bit, but I still think they might be held down by the pitching here. Minnesota has played in some low-scoring games recently. They've been playing poorly. They lost 4 of their last 5. They're coming in from home, starting a road trip, which that is that is sometimes a good spot when you leave home and just start a road trip. You can be more focused here. But I'm looking at the total here, as I said. Taj Bradley is pitching for the Twins. I know his whip isn't very good, 1.32. His ERA, 3.56 is pretty good, although it should be higher based on that whip. He's not quite as good on the road, 3.68 road ERA. I get all that. I do worry that he had 5 walks in his last outing against the White Sox, and he wasn't that good in that Pittsburgh game, the game before that, where we lost on a first 5 under in that one. But I still think he's, I don't want to say he's like completely out of form here. I know the walks are a concern, but those are pretty good offenses. He's stepping down in class to face Detroit here. He faced them earlier this season. He had one of his best starts of the season against them earlier this year in Minnesota. Went 6 1/3, 10 strikeouts, no walks, 1 earned run allowed, 6 hits. So he was really good in that outing against Detroit. And he has good numbers generally against Detroit as well. He has held them to a 167 average, 439 OPS. It's a small sample, though, 24 at-bats. They only have 1 extra base hit, a double from McKinstry, 9 strikeouts, 1 walk. So I think Bradley has a good matchup here, so I think he can come back into form here. And nobody's going to pay attention to Troy Melton, who is pitching for the Tigers here. He's actually not bad. He's a young pitcher still, and they've put him in the starting rotation basically because they don't really have any choice, but he was in the starting rotation for a while last year, too, and his numbers last year are pretty good. His numbers this year are pretty good between the bullpen and starting. 1.74 ERA, 0.87 whip. That's all pretty good. Actually, he's only made starts this year, my mistake. Last year, he made a bunch of relief appearances. His strikeout rate wasn't good last year. I know he's not really a strikeout pitcher, but he's been pretty capable, man, and he's going deep into these outings. He's been actually, he hasn't pitched at home yet. He's only made road starts so far, and it hasn't really been that easy. Like, he had a deep outing against the White Sox, another one against Tampa. Those are not easy offenses to face, and Baltimore, all on the road, and he allowed no more than 2 earned runs than any of them, has a low hit rate, a low walk rate, and yes, I know his strikeout rate is not good, but Melton has been pretty good, and he also has done well against Minnesota in the past. It's a small sample, 4 at-bats. A lot of their guys haven't even seen him, but they're 0 for 4 off him with no strikeouts and no walks. So he's got a clean sheet against them. I like that he's going deep into these outings, and these bats that haven't seen him seem to struggle against him a little bit. So I like it. First 5 under in Twins Tigers here. Let me see if we can find it here. Let me look for Melton. There it is. Hide the FAQ. Where are you, Melton? The money is indicating on the under pretty strongly here. 56% of tickets on the over, 62% of the cash on the under. Full game is 8.5. I just don't want the bullpens involved because they're not good bullpens, so that's the way I'm doing it. The money is also coming in on Detroit for what that's worth. They're about minus 130 here. 74% of tickets are on Minnesota. 53% of the cash on the Tigers. So do with that info what you want. But I like the under first 5 there. That's going to be another play. All right. Yankees and Cleveland. Unfortunately, the Yankees wound up winning in extra innings yesterday, even though they were losing the game late. So Cleveland blowing that game. Maybe Cleveland will be a little bit hungover here. Yankees are still probably going to take Cleveland seriously because Cleveland played them well yesterday. Cleveland beat them 2 out of 3 in New York like a week ago. So I don't think the Yankees are going to be unfocused here. This is TBS and Prime. Here is where this game is. Yankees did use a lot of relief pitchers, though. The game went into extra innings. They used 7 guys out of the bullpen. That's not good. Cleveland also used quite a few. They used 5. These bullpens are both mediocre. Yankees are 12th. Cleveland 14th. But I would not want to trust these bullpens given the lack of rest that they have right now. Yankees are number 2 in offense. Cleveland is way worse than that at 26th. Yankees clearly have the better offense here, and they have the better starting pitcher here, obviously. Garrett Cole is pitching for the Yankees. He's been good so far in his return from injury. 2 ERA, 0.89 whip. He has a 0 road ERA so far. Only 1 start, but it was his best start. Shutout with 10 strikeouts against Kansas City. He actually just faced Cleveland, though, and that was his worst start of the season, easily. He gave up 3 bombs, 4 earned runs, 6 hits, and 5 1/3. I know home runs are fluky, but 2 strikeouts, 1 walk. He wasn't good in that outing, and Cleveland just saw him, so that might help Cleveland's bats a little bit. And believe it or not, Cole does not have good numbers against Cleveland. They have 99 at bats against him, 19 strikeouts, 12 walks, 263 average, 857 OPS. So Cleveland is one of the offenses that can actually do damage against him for whatever reason. Slade Ciccone is pitching for Cleveland. He's not good. 4.92 ERA, 1.43 whip. That's not very good. He's good at home, though, ish. 4.19 home ERA, so he is better at home. He just faced the Yankees, so the Yankees offense might have a little bit of an advantage here as well because they just saw him. But he pitched well. He went 6 innings, gave up 1 earned run, 4 hits, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. And Cleveland somehow managed to not win that game because their offense sucks. But Ciccone, he actually does well against the Yankees. That was not his only start against them. They have 36 at-bats against him. Not a huge sample, but still decent. 6-2 strikeout walk ratio, 222 average, 680 OPS. So Slade Ciccone actually has the better matchup numbers in this game here. Would we dare actually go with Cleveland here? I mean, I think I kind of have to lean that way a little bit. They are an underdog at home here. Yankees probably paying a little bit of a price for them with Cole. They're minus 130 something here. Looks fairly easy to play the Yankees, although we have 91% of the tickets, 93% of the cash on Cleveland. I don't think Cleveland's a public side here. Like, do you really think the public is going against the Yankees and Cole and going with Ciccone? I highly doubt that. So I think maybe Cleveland is worth a look, but I think, an over might be worth a look here if you go full game on this and include the bullpens, because Ciccone is just not good. So there's a chance he gives up runs here, even though the Yankees are not as good offensively on the road. Cole doesn't have good matchup numbers here. 8.5 is the total here. 64% of tickets, 95% of the cash on the over. So do with that information what you want. I could see the arguments for it, although I think there are arguments for an under too, though. You could argue, well, Cole is still a good pitcher and Ciccone has good matchup numbers. So you could argue for an under. If you're going to go under, I would go first 5, though, because the bullpens are just totally unrested there. If you're going to go over, I would go full game with it. All right, Philadelphia and Toronto. These teams did play yesterday. Philadelphia won, not a shock. I said that I thought they would with Sanchez up against, I don't even know who pitched for Toronto. Oh, yeah, Patrick Corbin. Philadelphia used 2 relief pitchers. Toronto used 3. I think Philadelphia has the better bullpen, even though they're ranked lower in whip. Toronto's 10, Philadelphia 13, but Philadelphia's got the better ERA. A little bit more rested here, too. Philadelphia's been poor offensively, though. They're tied in 26th with Cleveland and Kansas City. And Toronto is not really that much better at 20th. So we have some offenses that are struggling here. Zach Wheeler is pitching for Philadelphia. He's been really good since coming back. He's right back in form. Like, he basically picked up right where he left off. He's got a 2.31 ERA, 0.83 whip, home road splits. His ERA is the same, both home and away. It doesn't matter. He did throw over 100 pitches in his last outing. It was a pretty good start against San Diego. I wouldn't be that concerned with that, even though I know that was the first time he threw over 100 pitches this season. But he's a veteran, dude. I mean, he's used to it, so I wouldn't be too concerned by that. His strikeout rate's a little bit low here, but not too bad. His hit rate is really low, and his walk rate's not bad either. So he's pitched well this season. He's got good numbers against Toronto as well. 81 at bats, 21-3 strikeout walk ratio, 222 average, 583 OPS. So Wheeler looks like he has a good matchup here. I think he should pitch well. Dylan Cease will be making his return from the injured list for the Blue Jays here. Cease having a good season, 3.05 ERA, 1.21 whip. He's been good at home, 2.34 home ERA. Struggled a bit over his last few outings, though. I know one of them was against the Yankees, one of them was against Pittsburgh, but he was walking too many guys in the last few outings. Did get injured, though, so maybe the injury had something to do with it. His Pittsburgh start got cut short, I think, because of the injury. Overall, he's got a really high strikeout rate. Like, maybe he might even have the highest strikeout rate in baseball. He hasn't thrown that many innings, and he's almost at 100 strikeouts already in 62 innings. He's got a low hit rate as well. His walk rate is too high. That's like always the case with Cease, though. He blows guys away. He tends to throw too many pitches and walks too many guys. Against Philadelphia, he hasn't been that great in 60 at-bats, 12.6 strikeout walk ratio, 267 average, 900 OPS. So Cease doesn't look like he matches up well. However, what I will say is that a lot of times when you have a veteran pitcher like Cease coming back from the injured list, a lot of times they're pumped up and they pitch well because they're excited to get back out there and the team kind of rallies around them and whatever. So I don't really want to fade a veteran pitcher like Cease coming back here. And the money is actually on Toronto. 79% of tickets, 88% of the cash on them. They're around minus 110. I mean, I think if you forced me to pick a side, I think I would still fade Toronto here. I think I would prefer Wheeler over Cease still based on the matchup numbers I just showed you. The total's really low at 7.5, so the odds makers are kind of telling you they think this is going to be a pitching duel here, and you know, that's not really going out on a limb, although Cease doesn't have good matchup numbers, but these are two good starters here. I wouldn't really disagree with the under, although we have 53% of tickets, 52% of the cash on the under. I don't know how much I love the bullpens, but I don't really hate them either. I don't know. Full game under, I see more arguments for that than for an over here, but I don't know. I think the best arguments are actually for Philly in that game, but I don't want to do anything with it. Garrett, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. I don't know what's going to happen in that game tonight. I have an opinion on it that is not what the market is saying. St. Louis at the Mets. The Mets are returning home from the Pacific Coast, and you know I talk about that. When a team has been gone for a week and they're traveling cross country, that's one of the worst spots you can be in because you got to get back to home life. You can get distracted. It's even worse in baseball when it's a bad team, and I think the Mets do qualify as a bad team. So this is not a good spot for the Mets here, although they are actually favored because I think St. Louis is just a massively overrated team. St. Louis has the better situational angles, though. They're starting a road trip and coming in from St. Louis, so I think that's better. They're on a 4-game win streak. They did just sweep Cincinnati, but I don't think you're going to be in a letdown spot after sweeping the last-place team in your division. Mets still have a lot of name recognition, whatever. Playing in New York is still a big deal, so I think St. Louis is in a focus spot here with momentum. Both teams were off yesterday, by the way, for whatever that's worth. Mets have the better bullpen. Mets are ranked 5th. They actually have a pretty good bullpen. St. Louis is 20th, so the Mets have a bullpen edge here. Hitting-wise, the Mets have been awful. They're 29th, although at least they're out of the bottom spot thanks to San Diego. St. Louis is 15th, so St. Louis does have the better offense. Dustin May is pitching for St. Louis. He's been pitching better recently. His numbers on the season are actually in kind of a range where they're more tolerable. 4.59 ERA, 1.29 whip. He's been a little bit better on the road. 4.23 road ERA, which doesn't make sense because St. Louis is a pitcher-friendly park, but he's actually pitching better recently. He's had a high strikeout rate recently. 7+ strikeouts in 4 of his last 5 starts. He's allowed no more than 4 earned runs in any start, going all the way back to his first 2 starts of the season. So May is actually pitching better, unfortunately, because the Red Sox had him very briefly, and I'm like, what the fuck are the Red Sox even doing? Because I thought May was never going to bounce back from his injury issues and whatever. He's still not there. Like, he's not what he once was, but he is pitching better. He's got a pretty easy task here against a weak hitting Mets lineup here. And he is in good form, like I said. Against the Mets, he's got 26 at-bats against them. They only have 6 hitters who have ever faced him. 192 average allowed and 592 OPS, 5.5 strikeout walk ratio, but 4 walks are from Soto. So May actually does have good matchup numbers here, so he might actually pitch well. He is not the better pitcher out of the two, just on the surface. I think Freddie Peralta is the better pitcher, although Peralta's whip has gotten into higher territory here. He's got a 3.63 ERA. His whip is too high, though, 1.32. That's not good. He's been worse at home as well, 4.19 home ERA. Pitched well last time at Seattle, which was a nice bounce back because he had 2 bad outings in a row against Miami, although his strikeout rate was still really good over that span. But he is kind of trending back in the right direction. He's got a good strikeout rate on the season, good hit rate. His walk rate is too high. That's always his problem, is the walks. He's got to get that number down. Against St. Louis, he has all right numbers here, 95 at-bats, 242 average, 658 OPS. They've seen a lot of him because he was on Milwaukee for a while, but he's done pretty well against them. 25 strikeouts, 11 walks isn't great, though. Too many walks, but overall his numbers are pretty good here, so I don't really want to fade Peralta, even though I think if you force me to pick a side, I would lean to St. Louis here. The money's not agreeing. 61% of tickets on St. Louis, 68% of the cash on the Mets. I do not agree with that. The Mets are around minus 130 here. Mets are in a bad spot, dude. Like I said, the return home spot, I don't like that. I don't like that spot at all. So I think I would lean slightly towards St. Louis as the dog here. An under makes some sense here as well. The total's low for a reason. It's 7.5, although the money looks like it's on the over. 50% of tickets, 87% of the cash on the over. I think an under makes some sense. Both starting pitchers actually have good matchup numbers here. So I think an under makes sense. Maybe a first 5 under if you want to avoid St. Louis's bullpen. But you have 2, like I said, these are teams that were off yesterday. So you have offenses that might be cooled off. The offense for the Mets might be distracted as well from the return home and traveling cross country. Neither bullpen is really that bad, and they're both completely rested. So I think an under makes more sense than anything else in that game. Actually, yeah, I don't know. I'm torn between St. Louis and the under in that one, but I'm not going to do anything with that. Is it Eric Fedde? I'm not sure. I looked at the Braves 5 games ago, and it was a Davis Martin start, so I don't know. He's not pitching yet, so I don't know what they're doing. I looked at the White Sox, the White Sox. Yes, I'm happy the Knicks lost. The run line, this is Braves at Chicago here, so at least if you go run line, you have all 9 innings to work with here. The White Sox are returning home from a road trip, so that's a negative. They went to Minnesota and Philadelphia. Again, when a team returns home from the road, a lot of times they're distracted. But I think that's mitigated somewhat by the fact they're playing the team with the best record in baseball, I'm pretty sure. The Braves. Like, are you really going to overlook the Braves? Probably not. Atlanta could be in a letdown spot, too, because they're coming off a sweep of Pittsburgh. Pretty big weekend series there. Although they avoided Paul Skeens, though, right? So they kind of lucked out there. But they've won 5 of their last 6 games. They've won 8 of their last 10. But this could be a letdown spot for them. I think it's kind of a negative spot for both teams here. No bullpen usage because the teams were off yesterday. Atlanta has the better bullpen. They're number 1 in both whip and ERA. White Sox, not great at 18th. So Atlanta has a bullpen advantage. Both offenses are good. Atlanta number 3, White Sox number 4. Grant Holmes is pitching for Atlanta. I don't know. I'm not really a fan of these numbers. 3.86 ERA is pretty good, but a 1.32 whip isn't that great. He's a little bit worse on the road, but not much. 4 road ERA. He was all right in his last start against Toronto. I don't know. He's been a little bit shaky and not really going deep into a lot of these recent outings. He's got too high of a walk rate, too. I don't really trust Holmes here. He's got a decent hit rate, but his walk rate is way too high. His strikeout rate's, okay. I don't think Holmes is that good. Against the White Sox, let me say. They haven't really faced him, so he does have that advantage. They're 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Only Acuna, not the Braves Acuna, Luis Angel Acuna, I don't even know who that is, and Grichuk have combined for that 0 for 3 with a strikeout. So Holmes does have an unfamiliarity edge here at least. And Chicago's going with a bullpen game, which is pretty ugly. Isert is listed as a starter. He's probably only going to go 1 to 2 innings here. He's got a 3.21 ERA, 1.21 whip. Garrett, you think it's going to be Fedde coming in after him? It might be. Because, again, I looked 5 games back, and it was Davis Martin. So I was like, I don't really know what they're doing here. Obviously, Martin is not going to have an opener in front of him. Fedde last pitched on the 3rd, so I think you might be right. It might be Fedde. He actually went 5 innings of shutout ball last time out against the Mets. But yeah, I don't trust Fedde. He's got some ugly numbers here. 4.94 ERA, but 1.41 whip indicates his ERA should be higher than that. Oh, they're brothers. All right. So this is the battle of the brothers then. Interesting. Yeah, I still don't really like Fedde. Fedde's been better at home, though. 3.82 home ERA, so he's significantly better at home. Numbers against Atlanta, not great. In 111 at-bats, 288 average allowed, 835 OPS, 14-12 strikeout walk ratio. None of that is really good. So if you're going to get a bullpen game with Fedde, probably going 4 or 5 innings here or whatever, at least they're going to try to let him do that, I guess is what they're doing here. Yeah, I think you're probably right. Atlanta probably should win this game. White Sox look public, which doesn't make any sense to me. I understand the White Sox being public because there's hype on them. They're a good offense, but against Atlanta, Fedde is listed as a starter now. You got that right. Yeah, all right. Yeah, you're correct. He's listed as a starter on the board here now. So, yeah. It will be him, but kind of / a bullpen game. I think if you're going to play this game, I think you should go action on the White Sox side, though. I think you should specify Holmes must start, but for the White Sox, because they might put an opener in front of Fedde, and I think you could be pretty certain you're going to get Fedde here at some point, but maybe not to start the game. If you want your bet to still count, I think you should specify Holmes must start, but you don't care who starts for the White Sox. I think that's probably what I would do. Unless you think they're going to switch to Davis Martin here, but I don't think so. I think he might pitch tomorrow. Atlanta's about minus 150 something here. 94% of the tickets, 85% of the cash on the White Sox. Money looks like it's indicated towards Atlanta. I still don't buy that the White Sox are actually a public side here, though. That makes no sense to me. And money is hitting the over here. The total's at 9, so it's a pretty high total. Oddsmaker's kind of thinking that there's going to be some offense in this game here, which might be right. I think the better way to play this, because Holmes is just kind of a mystery here. I think Atlanta team total over is probably the best way to play this, because I think they could definitely get runs. I know they're actually better on the road, too, Atlanta. They actually hit better on the road than at home, believe it or not. So I think that is probably the approach in this game. Atlanta team total over. That would probably be what I would recommend here. I think they could definitely get runs off of Fedde plus whatever relievers come in for the White Sox here. Fedde, yeah. Mikolas got the job done yesterday, man. He did well enough for Washington to win that game. Yeah. That was like the one spot where you might want to play Mikolas, although he had to go full game on it, and I never would have done that with Washington. I never want to include their bullpen. All right, Texas, Kansas City. These teams were off yesterday as well. Kansas City just started the road trip that they're finishing now. They started it in Texas, and they got swept. So Kansas City has a little bit of a quick revenge angle here, maybe. But they're returning home from the road. They just had 3 road series in Texas, Cincinnati, Minnesota. Now they're returning home from that. And I talk about this. When a team returns home from the road, it's a negative spot. Typically, you have to get back to home life. It's not a good spot to be in. But again, that might be negated somewhat by the fact that they got swept at Texas to start the road trip. So they may not overlook Texas here. Even though Kansas City is a bad team in a bad spot here. Texas was off yesterday as well. They just beat Cleveland. They're hot right now, Texas. They've won 7 of their last 9 games, including beating Cleveland 10-0 the last time out. Although Texas's offense is not really that good. No bullpen usage. I don't know why I'm looking at that. Texas has the better bullpen, though, by a lot. They're ranked 6th in bullpen. Kansas City's 29th, and Texas's ERA is almost 2 runs better than Kansas City. So this is a huge bullpen advantage to Texas here, even though they're both rested. Offensively, neither team has done well. Texas is 21st, Kansas City 26th. So Texas has a little bit of an advantage there, too. On the surface, I think Texas has the better starter here as well with Nathan Eovaldi. He's got a 4.1 ERA, but his 1.18 whip is pretty solid. Like, his ERA should probably be a little bit better than that. He's been good on the road, which is kind of weird because Texas is a pitcher-friendly ballpark, but he's got a 3.88 road ERA, so he's been a little bit better on the road. He did just get knocked around a bit by St. Louis in his last outing, but his command numbers are still there. 7-1 strikeout-walk ratio. So I don't think he's like totally out of form here, but his last 2 starts were a little bit worse. Overall, he's got good numbers. He's got a strikeout rate right around 1 per inning, hit rate lower than that, and walk rate is low as well. But he's allowed 14 home runs, so the long ball has been kind of an issue for him. But other than that, he's got solid numbers otherwise. And he's a solid pitcher. He's been around for a while. I mean, we know. I can't find Kansas City here. He's got numbers that aren't that good against Kansas City, though. And 76 at bats, 17.3 strikeout walk ratio is good, but a 276 average, 856 OPS allowed. That's not good. So this might be a bad matchup for Eovaldi here. Steven Kolek is pitching for the Royals. He was on bereavement, but I don't think he's missing a start here. I think he's on schedule here, and he's been good at home, 1.8 home ERA. I don't know if the bereavement is going to be like a distraction for him or anything, but he pitched well 6 days ago. He pitched in Cincinnati, hitter-friendly ballpark, and he pitched well there. He's been pretty good on the season. Low hit rate, low walk rate. His strikeout rate is low, though. Doesn't strike out a lot of guys. I think Eovaldi just has better stuff than Kolek, but Kolek has been pretty good. His numbers against Texas, though, are not good. 37 at-bats, 378 average allowed, 1101 OPS, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. So I don't really like what I'm seeing with these matchup numbers from either starter here. I mean, would we dare go over in this game? The crazy thing is the odds makers are really kind of putting these totals really high in Kansas City now that they've brought the walls in. And Eovaldi Kolek game is at 9.5 here on the total. That's crazy. The money is indicating pretty heavily on the over as well. And 89% of tickets on the under, 92% of the cash on the over. I mean, I don't think I quite want to do it because you do still have 2 pretty good starting pitchers here, but their matchup numbers are bad, so I can see the argument for the over, and that does look like that's where the money is going. I wouldn't want to do it, though, especially over that high of a total. But then again, odds makers are kind of signaling with a total that high. Kansas City also appears to be public, which I would not buy that at all. 76% of tickets, 74% of the cash on Kansas City. There's no way that the public is actually on Kansas City. Minus 120 or so is the price on Texas. I'd probably lean Texas here. I think Eovaldi, he does have better matchup numbers too, even though they're not great. But I think he's just the better pitcher there. So that's what I think about that. I'll be right back, and then I'll talk about the rest of these games. I have one more play in baseball. Give me a second. All right. Next game is Cubs at Colorado. Cubs are coming in from home, so they're starting a road trip. Could be a focus spot, possibly a bounce back spot because the Cubs haven't been playing great recently. They just lost to San Francisco. Colorado is staying at home off of getting swept by Milwaukee. So both teams, seems like a focus spot for both teams to me here. Neither team played yesterday, so there's no bullpen usage here. Colorado's bullpen is bad, though. The Cubs are ranked 8th in bullpen. Colorado is, where are they? 26, so huge bullpen disparity. In fact, Colorado has the worst bullpen ERA, so Cubs have a huge bullpen edge here. Cubs are number 10 on offense. The Rockies are 17, so the Cubs have the advantage there, too. Colin Ray is pitching for the Cubs. He hasn't been great. 4.59 ERA, 1.35 whip. He's been way worse on the road. 6.19 road ERA. Now, he's not an extreme fly ball pitcher, though. So he might do okay in Coors Field. And I think the last time he pitched at Coors Field was 2 years ago. And he actually did well in that start, although that was 2 years ago. But he profiles as a guy that can pitch okay in Coors Field. Just because he's not really a huge... not a huge fly ball pitcher, not a huge home run pitcher here, but he's struggled recently still, though. He's been allowing too many walks, not going that deep into some of these games. I don't know, not really great stuff here. More than one hit allowed per inning on the season, low strikeout rate, kind of a high walk rate, so I don't really like these numbers here. However, against Colorado, I think he does do well. They only have 4 hitters who have faced him, though, so not a huge sample to look at here. The only extra base hit is a double from Julian. They're 1 for 11, 2 strikeouts, 1 walk. 0.91 average is what that is, 348 OPS. Ray might do well here. He's pretty unfamiliar to them, and he does profile okay for pitching in Coors. Tomoyuki Sugano is pitching for the Rockies. He's been all right. 3.98 ERA, 1.26 whip. Really not bad considering he has to pitch in Coors Field half the time. He's been worse at home, though, of course. 4.5 home ERA. It's not easy to pitch in this stadium. But he's done all right, like I said. He's been kind of a serviceable pitcher. He's got a really low strikeout rate, though. But his hit rate and his walk rate really aren't that bad. He is kind of a fly ball pitcher, though, so he's allowing some home runs here. Numbers against the Cubs are actually not bad. In 20 at-bats, 2-1 strikeout walk ratio, 200 average, 538 OPS. I don't know if I would trust it, but... I could see the argument for an under in this one. The total's 12.5, which is ridiculous. It's Coors Field, but, money coming in on the over. 83% of tickets on the under, 95% of the cash on the over. First 5 under, I think you could make an argument for it. I think both starting pitchers might actually do better than people think here. I would not go full game under because Rocky's bullpen is just awful. But I think first 5 under does make some sense here. The Cubs are also around minus 150. 90% of tickets, 92% of the cash on Colorado. I don't really have an opinion on the side there. Cubs are the better team, but I don't know. That game I don't have a good read on it. Houston at Anaheim. Anaheim returned home yesterday, and Houston was able to beat them, but it took extra innings to do it. Anaheim could be in a bounce-back spot after that because when you return home, sometimes if you don't play well, sometimes you bounce back. But it was a close game yesterday. Anaheim used 5 relief pitchers. Their bullpen has not been good. Houston used 4. Houston's bullpen has been a little bit better recently. They were really bad for so long, but they're 24th now, which isn't too bad. Anaheim... 27th. These bullpens are both pretty close right now. Neither are good, though. Houston is number 7 in offense. Anaheim is 18. So Houston has a bit of an edge there. Kaiwei Tang is pitching for Houston. I still don't know what to think about him. He's got good numbers. A lot of it was out of the bullpen, though. 3.06 ERA, 1.17 whip. He's been good on the road, 2.57 road ERA. But there are some indicators that this is not going to last. Like if you look at his longer outings, he's walked at least 3 guys in 3 out of the 4. He's been allowing some runs recently. He only had 1 strikeout last time out against Pittsburgh. I don't know, man. I think this is going to unravel a little bit for Tang here. These numbers are really not that great. On the season, his hit rate is good. His strikeout rate is all right, but his walk rate is way too high. So the walks are definitely a problem. for him, but maybe he matches up okay here because Anaheim hasn't really seen him much. They only have 8 at-bats against him. Only Peraza has a hit against him. 1 strikeout, no walks, 125 average, 250 OPS. So maybe he does pitch well here, but I think Walbert Urania might actually be the more talented pitcher here. Urania's been all right. In what I think is his rookie season. He's got a 2.68 ERA. His whip is too high, though, 1.33, so that indicates his ERA should be higher. But he's been good at home, 2.12 home ERA. Pitched pretty well last time out against the Rockies. He's got to get his walk number down, though. The walks are the concern with him here. He's got a decent strikeout rate, a good hit rate. It's low, but his walk rate is too high. And he is more ground ball oriented than fly ball oriented, which is not bad, really. Although sometimes that does tend to mask the amount of walks that you're giving up. He hasn't been that good against Houston, but it's only in 7 at-bats. They only have 6 hitters who have faced him. 286 average allowed, though, 929 OPS, 1-3 strikeout walk ratio. So Urania hasn't been that good against them. All of that was earlier this season. He actually pitched against Houston twice to start the season. I think both were out of the bullpen. He gave up no earned runs. One of the starts, Houston got 6 unearned runs against him, which is crazy. But I think Urania might actually pitch okay here. I think I might lean towards Anaheim here. I mean, it's potentially a bounce back, second game back home. Maybe just first 5. Maybe just go with Urania to outpitch Tang. But the money is coming in against that. 68% of tickets on Anaheim. 81% of the cash on Houston. I have no idea why Anaheim would be a public side. It makes no sense. Houston at minus 120. I don't know. Should Tang really be favored like that on the road? I don't know about that. And the money is coming in on the over as well for what that's worth at 8.5. If you go over in that game, obviously go full game with it because the bullpens are awful. So that's what I would say about that. But I think maybe a slight lean to Anaheim first 5. Don't have a good read for it. The next game up will be my last play, though. And we are going to go with Cincinnati on the run line in the first 5, minus a half run at minus 105. You could go full game on this if you want to, but their bullpen is clearly horrible. Cincinnati has a massive bullpen disadvantage here, so I think you have to go first 5. But the odds makers know this. They know that the big advantage Cincinnati has is the starting pitching here. So they're juicing that price way up on Cincinnati. They're like minus 160, I think, on the money line in just the first 5. But we'll go with laying the half run here. And yes, it means they have to be winning at that point, but I think they could do it. These teams did play yesterday. San Diego used 4 relief pitchers. Cincinnati used 2. Cincinnati's bullpen is still totally untrustworthy, though. San Diego is number 4 in bullpen. Cincinnati's dead last, 30th, although their ERA is better than Colorado's, but they have the worst whip. They're awful. Hitting-wise, San Diego's been awful. They're last, 30th. And Cincinnati is middle of the pack at 16th, so we do get the better offense here. But I think we have a big starting pitching advantage here with Chase Burns. Who else? We're going to go with him, man. 2.05 ERA, 0.95 whip. He's been really good on the road, 1.8 road ERA, which makes sense because the Reds stadium is hitter-friendly. Put him in a pitcher-friendly ballpark here. I think he should do well. He was sick, so he had his last start pushed back, but he pitched well anyway against Kansas City, so he's continuing to pitch well. He's allowed more than 2 earned runs only 1 time this season. He's got a high strikeout rate, really low hit rate, and his walk rate is slightly high, but the rest of his numbers are overcoming that, and San Diego's never faced him before, so we have an extra advantage here with a talented young pitcher who he's facing a bad offense, and this offense hasn't seen him before. That should be an advantage to the pitcher because the offense has to try to figure him out, so I like all that. Lucas Giolito is pitching for San Diego. He has not been good. 4.86 ERA, 1.74 whip is awful. He's been better at home. He has a 0 home ERA, but that was only in 1 start. He did shut out the A's at home, but he had 5 walks in that outing. So there's really not a lot to like about what Giolito has done so far. He's got more walks than strikeouts in 16 2/3 innings so far. None of this is very good. He's not a good pitcher. And against Cincinnati, he does not have good numbers. In 42 at-bats, 17 strikeouts, 7 walks, 310 average, 1,003 OPS. So we will go with Cincinnati run line first 5. I don't know why the money's coming in on San Diego. I do not agree with that. San Diego, I believe, won yesterday, by the way. Yeah, they won yesterday. They're staying at home. Maybe a little bit of a bounce back here for Cincinnati as well. Even though Cincinnati's not a great team, I know, but their biggest disadvantage is the bullpen, and we're taking that out of the equation. I think they have a huge starting pitching edge here. But I don't like the money here. 60% of tickets, 86% of the cash on San Diego. Cincinnati's around minus 120 something on a full game, like I said, and much higher than that in the first 5 for a reason, though. Total's also 7.5 with money coming in towards the under. Do with that info what you want. But first 5, Cincinnati, run line is the play there. Washington at San Francisco. ESPN Unlimited. San Francisco was in a really bad spot yesterday. They returned home from the road, having to travel all the way back to the Pacific Coast. And Washington was only coming in from Arizona. So it was a terrible spot for San Francisco. San Francisco is coming off 2 straight extra inning games, including the Sunday night game, which went into extra innings. It was an awful spot. So bad that they lost to Miles Mikolas. So there you go. I still don't think San Francisco's offense is good. They had 3 games where they just totally exploded in Coors Field, once against Milwaukee and once in Wrigley, but I'm not buying it. I don't think San Francisco's that good offensively. 3 games in a row they haven't been, so keep that in mind. Could be a bounce-back spot for them here, though, because when a team returns home from the road and they don't do well, a lot of times they do bounce back in the next game. San Francisco used 2 relief pitchers. They only used Smith for 3 pitches yesterday, Dylan Smith. Washington used 4 guys out of the bullpen. Washington has the lesser bullpen here. They're number 23, although San Francisco is number 25, but their ERA is still better. Neither bullpen has been that good, though, but San Francisco's got the better ERA, and they're more rested. Washington's number 5 in offense. The Giants are number 12, but like I said, I'm not really buying it. I think they're going to fall off here. And I actually like Washington starting pitching better here with Andrew Alvarez making a start here. He made 5 starts last year, and he's made 1 start so far this year, and he's actually been pretty decent. His walk rate was way too high last year, but he looks like he's kind of getting that under control now. He's got a 3.54 ERA this year and a 1.23 whip. Most of it out of the bullpen, making like long relief appearances, but I think he's a decent pitcher. He's got a 0 road ERA, which is solid. Did fairly well in his last time out against Miami. He hasn't gone deeper than 4 2/3 innings so far, though. So they might have him on a little bit of a leash here. I don't know how long he's going to go. So that could be a problem because Washington's bullpen is bad. So if they're going to pull him somewhere around the 5th inning, you got to deal with Washington's bullpen after that, which isn't great. Alvarez has allowed fewer than 1 hit per inning, more than 1 strikeout per inning, and his walk rate's not too bad. So he's got good numbers overall. San Francisco has 12 at-bats against him. Not a big sample, but most of their batters have faced him. 3 strikeouts, no walks, 250 average, 583 OPS. So I think Alvarez could actually pitch well here. He's going to have to face Adrian Hauser, who is not having a good season for San Francisco. 5.49 ERA, 1.58 whip, really bad. He's been worse at home, 6.97 home ERA. Makes no sense because it's a pitcher-friendly ballpark here. He's been roughed up recently, too. 3 straight outings where he didn't make it 5 innings. He's been bad. He's got a high walk rate. His strikeout rate's really low. His hit rate is high. He's allowed a fair amount of home runs, too. He's been pretty bad overall. His numbers against Washington are sort of average in 42 at-bats, 262 average, 745 OPS, 6.5 strikeout walk ratio. I wouldn't really want to trust Hauser. I know it looks like a bounce-back spot for San Francisco here, but I think Washington first 5 is probably the way to look at this game. I think Alvarez can outpitch Hauser here. And Alvarez should be in there for most of the first 5 innings, at least, so you kind of avoid Washington's bullpen by doing it first 5. San Francisco's a favorite. They're probably a favorite first 5 as well. They're around minus 112 here, minus 114, whatever. The money looks like it is agreeing with Washington. 53% of tickets on San Francisco, 69% of the cash on Washington. Money also coming in towards the over pretty strongly in that game, over 8.5. I don't know if I probably wouldn't disagree with that. I mean, you got bullpens that I don't really trust here. Maybe both starters are untrustworthy, so there are probably more components to that would indicate towards an over. But I think first 5 Washington makes the most sense. And Washington, they're good at hitting on the road, too, so keep that in mind. Then we have Milwaukee and the A's in Las Vegas, and a total even higher in tonight's game, because if you didn't see, Last night's game, they scored 29 runs in last night's game, and it went 12 innings. There were a lot of extra innings runs, and almost every guy that reached base scored. So, like, they scored 25, I think it was 29 runs they scored, but I think it was on, like, 33 hits or something like that. So, it was a really high, like, run-to-hit ratio, but still, 29 runs is ridiculous. And one thing that I forgot to mention is I think this is a AAA stadium, but it's also in high elevation for whatever reason in Las Vegas. It's not like Coors Field, but I think it's like 3,000 something feet at elevation. So keep that in mind. And yesterday's game went way over the total. So does that make me want to go over again here? I don't know. I mean, maybe. It went into extra innings, and a lot of the relief pitchers came in. The A's used 6 guys out of the bullpen. Milwaukee used 6 as well, so we have some unrested bullpens here. Milwaukee is the better bullpen. They're ranked 11th, and they have a good bullpen ERA. The A's are number 22, not very good. Hitting-wise, the A's are 8th and actually tied with Milwaukee. They're tied in 8th. For the pitchers here, we have Robert Gasser pitching for the Brewers. He hasn't been that good. 4.73 ERA, 1.43 whip. Those are not great numbers. Home road split's not really that significant. Slightly better on the road, but he's only made 3 starts so far. And his last one was good, but it was against San Francisco. So I don't know how much weight to put into that. His walk rate is too high right now. His strikeout rate and hit rate are okay, but it's also a really small sample. But one problem with Gasser is his fly ball rate is really pretty extreme. So that is not what you want in a ballpark like this. So that is not a good indicator that Gasser allows a lot of fly balls. If we look at last year, that seemed to kind of be the case last year too. He hasn't really pitched that much though, so we don't have a huge sample here. And the A's have never faced him, so maybe that's a little bit of an advantage to him because they haven't seen him. But I'm not sure that Gasser is really going to do well here. JT Ginn is pitching for the A's. He's had a good season. 2.74 ERA, 1.08 whip. He's been good so far, but he's been worse at home. 3.96 home ERA. And I know that's in Sacramento, but this stadium is very similar to that. So I think that's not a good sign that he doesn't pitch as well in stadiums similar to this. Although he's not an extreme fly ball pitcher. He's pretty even with the ground balls and fly balls. So he does set up a little bit better to pitch in an environment like this. He pitched well last time out against the Cubs. Was pretty good the start before that, too, against the Yankees. He's been pretty good recently, actually. Like his last 4 full starts have actually been really good. He had one kind of bad outing where he got pulled early against San Diego, but other than that, he's been good recently. His strikeout rate's not that high. That's not really what he does. His hit rate is low, but his walk rate is too high. So the walks are the biggest concern for him. His numbers against Milwaukee are okay. In 26 at-bats, 231 average, 756 OPS is like right around that average there, where I look at 750 as kind of a Mendoza line there. 10-4 strikeout walk ratio. You know, I mean, you could look towards an over here. I mean, the bullpens are both in bad shape after yesterday, man, you know. I don't know if I love either pitcher here. Money is kind of indicating towards the under here. The total's 13, which is ridiculous, but it is that high for a reason. 64% of tickets, 59% of the cash on the over, though. And I don't know if I'd really want to do it because when you see a 15-14 final score, that's what it was last night, 15-14. When you see that, like the public's just going to come in on an over after that thinking, oh my God, this Vegas stadium is ridiculous. Milwaukee won 15-14. Totally ridiculous. And it is, but when you see a game like that and the bullpens get used like that and whatever, a lot of times that kind of dominoes into the next game. You don't even need it to be anywhere close to that high scoring to get this thing over this time. I don't know. I think an over kind of makes sense in this one. The money's indicated towards Milwaukee for whatever reason. A's 74% of tickets, 70% of the cash. They're around minus 110. They look like a public side here, which that doesn't make sense to me. You think Milwaukee would be a public side here. I don't know. I mean, I don't have a good read on this game, so do with it what you want. But, yeah, I got nothing on this game, really. I still think an over might be the way to play it, but first play was Seattle Mariners money line. All right. Even though I'm worried that the market read is not really agreeing with me on that. Or actually, it looks like it is now. I don't know. Who knows, man? I'm just doing my handicapping, man. I just think there's a big pitching edge there. All right. let's look at WNBA. Unfortunately, WNBA Cup action. I don't have any plays here. I know I'm skipping the WNBA a lot here. I think I was right about 2 of the 3 games last night, maybe all 3. I don't even remember. On the side, I mean, ESPN has Atlanta and Chicago. Chicago has not been playing well in Cup play right now. I think they only have 1 Cup win so far. I don't know what that means as far as like when they could potentially get eliminated. They haven't been playing well recently. They just got blown out by Toronto on the road. It was only a single game on the road, so Chicago might play better here back at home. They're not going to overlook Atlanta. Atlanta's been a good team. Chicago coming off an embarrassing loss to an expansion team. Atlanta's coming off a pretty satisfying 32-point win over Washington. I know Washington's not a good team, but still, when you beat anybody by that much, you got to be feeling pretty good about yourselves. Going out on the road here, I would lean towards Chicago plus the points here. This is going to be a really interesting game, though, because this is the Angel Reese battle. If you remember, I mentioned that Angel Reese was on Chicago last year, which I think was her only season so far, or maybe the last 2 seasons, whatever. Now she's on Atlanta, so I don't know which way that goes, though. Like, does Reese want to play well against her former team? And I guess she does, but I don't know if that's going to be enough, man. Chicago might, I don't know, want to get back at them, too. I think the spot's a little bit better for Chicago. Atlanta's laying 8.5 on the road here. They've gone up from 6.5 to 8.5. 87% of tickets, 88% of the cash on Atlanta. They do look like a public side. The money has come in on them early, but I think I would lean towards taking the points there. I don't want to do it. Dallas and Minnesota is a good game, and it is kind of interesting. Minnesota's still without Collier, but they've been playing really well anyway. They've won 7 games in a row. They just beat Seattle, which is whatever. I think they're undefeated in Cup play. Seattle's not a good team, though. Now, they did actually win at Dallas already. If you looked at that game, Dallas, I think, was a 3.5-point home favorite in that game, and now Minnesota is like 5.5, I think, at home here. So that seems like a bit of an adjustment, you know, maybe an over-adjustment. Like, if Dallas was 3.5 at home, you think this game would be like closer to like maybe Minnesota 1.5 here. 5.5 seems crazy. And if you dig into that matchup here, Minnesota shot really well. They shot 60% from the field, 46% from 3. Dallas was only 46% and 29%, respectively. And Dallas had more field goal attempts, so Dallas actually kind of outplayed Minnesota in some ways in this game. Although Minnesota did still out-rebound them, but it looks like the biggest outliers there were the shooting. I think that might mean that Minnesota might shoot worse here. It might mean that Dallas might shoot better here. It's a little bit of a road revenge angle here. Dallas has been playing well, even though they're a young, kind of inexperienced team. They've won 4 games in a row and 6 of 7. They just beat L.A., but they're coming into Minnesota from L.A., which is not that easy of a travel spot. But I would lean Dallas in this game, I think. Dallas is not getting the money, though. Looks like the public is taking Dallas. Thinking Minnesota at 5.5 is kind of crazy, which I think it is, too. You got to see if there are injuries, I guess. Because I don't see why Minnesota would be 5.5 here if Dallas was 3.5 at home. When they played earlier this year, Dallas 91% of tickets, 87% of the cash. So it looks like the public is taking the points with Dallas here, thinking this is going to be a competitive game. And you do not want public underdogs like Dallas, I will tell you that. Yeah, I mean, there are some injuries here. I don't know how... I mean, obviously, we already know Collier's out for Minnesota. She's been out since the playoffs last year, so that's not a change. Sims is out for the Wings. That doesn't look like a big deal either. I have no idea, dude. I don't know why the line is like that. I think I would lean towards Dallas plus the points there, but I'm not playing these WNBA games. You're tailing Seattle. All right, let's get it done, man. I found it about minus 115, so the price was all right. And then we have Phoenix and Golden State. Phoenix is playing better recently. Golden State has been playing worse recently, although I think Golden State's a pretty strong team, though. I think they're on the way up, but they did just lose to Minnesota and Vegas in close games. Those are 2 good teams. Those are 2 of the best teams in the league, so I'm not going to blame them for losing. They've had really, really difficult games recently. In the last 3 games, they played Vegas twice and Minnesota. That's not easy. So playing Phoenix is a step down in class, but they're coming home from the road, although they were only on the road Thursday, Saturday, so that's not that big a deal. But they're returning home from 2 big games. They're playing a Phoenix team they already beat at home 95-79, so they already easily beat Phoenix at home earlier, so they might overlook Phoenix for that reason. So the spot doesn't look that good. Phoenix is already on the Pacific Coast, and they're coming in from Portland. They had some wins against Seattle and Portland that I think will just give them some momentum. Those are not big wins against teams that aren't really that good, so I think that might just continue their momentum into this. So I would lean Phoenix. I think Phoenix is not as bad as their record looks. Although odds makers are telling you Golden State's the better team. They're 8.5, 8 here, -8 or so. But it's a low total, and with a low total like that, it makes more sense to play an underdog. Points a little bit more at a premium. I think I would take the points with Phoenix there. So I think I lean to all three underdogs. And then we have NHL, Carolina, and Vegas, Game 4. I don't want to play this game, though. Vegas is better at home, so we do have that. Vegas has had 3 goals in the last 2 games taken off the board by for various infractions. One was offsides. I think 2 were goaltender interference. I think the one 2 games ago might have been an incorrect call. I don't know. I mean, the other 2 were probably not. But Vegas, I mean, I don't know, man. They should have more easily won that game last time out. They were winning 4-0, and they blew that game, dude. And Carolina switched goalies, dude. So I don't even know who Carolina's putting in net here, but that's not good. When a team switches goalies, I'm going to tell you right now, they took Anderson out, and if they're going to put him back in, that could kind of hurt his confidence, man. So I don't like that. We don't even know who are they starting. I have no idea. Garrett, who are they starting in net? I have no idea. Because they're either going to go with an Anderson who might have his confidence shot after he was bad in the last game, or they're going to go with Bussy, who did play well in the last game, but he's very inexperienced. So I don't know what they're doing, but I don't think it's a good sign when a team pulls their goalie, man. Like, I just leave Anderson in because he's played so well throughout the playoffs. I would have just left him in, let him regain his confidence. I don't know what that was. And yeah, putting Bussy in almost got them the game. That's true, but he's not telling anyone. All right. That makes this game even more difficult to handicap, but I don't think that's a positive. Having a goaltender, a question mark, is not good. Vegas, like I said, should have won that game more easily. They were winning the game 4-0. The game was crazy, dude. Carolina did score on a power play, and their power play really hasn't been that good really throughout the entire season. Vegas did outshoot them slightly, but Vegas out-hit them by 20-something hits, so Vegas was the more physical team, although Carolina won the face-off battle. Yeah, I feel like shit. This is awful. Oh, God. I know it's obvious. And then in the game before that, by the way, Vegas probably should have won the game before that, too. I mean, it was just a crazy sequence of events in this other game. The game prior to that, where Vegas was winning 2-0 into the third period. Carolina tied the game. Then Vegas looked like they had the go-ahead goal taken off from goaltender interference. Tortorella challenged it, lost the challenge, which gave Carolina power play. Then they scored on the power play, even though they don't really have a good power play. Vegas wound up tying it anyway again after that, and then they lost on another power play on a trip in overtime. I don't know, man. I mean, Vegas definitely could have easily won that game, too. I think Vegas has been the better team in this series so far. I think that Carolina, after putting all that energy into come back from down 4-0, huge comeback, doing all that just to fall short again, and with the goaltender question marks here, I like Vegas in this game. That's the way I would lean here. The money does not agree with that, though. We have 56% of tickets, 86% of the cash on Carolina. They're around -113. I don't agree with it, though. And the money's coming in on the over. All three games have gone over the total so far. But I think a lot of that was kind of fluky, man. So I don't know. But I think Vegas is actually kind of correlated to an over. I think Carolina wants to play under. Carolina wants to play under games. That's what they want to do. They play low-scoring games, man. Vegas is a better offensive team, so they want to probably push the pace, and they have been able to do that in the series. Vegas, well, you mean Carolina, I think. Yeah. But yeah, those are my thoughts on it. That's going to do it, man. I don't really have much else on this game, but slight lean for me towards Vegas. I don't really have a good read on the total, though with all the games going over so far, maybe an under does make sense, but I think an under might be correlated to Carolina. So do with that info what you want. we got through it all. Maybe I have to be sick all the time just so the show goes faster. 3 plays today are the Mariners on the money line. Minnesota and Detroit, first 5 under 4.5 in baseball. And also baseball, Reds, -0.5 run, first 5 innings. That's going to do it. Let's get some wins today. 2-1 would be fine with me. Hopefully we can do it. I appreciate it, everybody. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram. Like, subscribe to the channel here. What else was I going to say? We're on audio as well. Apple, Spotify, Spreaker. That all helps. Covered in Uke is my Uke channel on YouTube, which I have not gotten back to. And now I can't do anything when I'm sick with that. So whatever. Patreon.com/LearnToToad. You can support me there. Losercast will be back tonight. If I'm healthy, even. I have no idea. And then Giants G-Spot podcast. That's going to do it. I appreciate it, everybody. Thank you, sir. It's not going to be a good day. It really isn't. I am just in a horrible state right now. And I need to be better for tomorrow for the Les Claypool extravaganza that I'm going to tomorrow, which features Primus and a couple of his other bands and Sean Lennon and whatever. I want to go, man. I love Primus. I love Les. I got to go. I got to be healthier at some point tomorrow. I don't know. I'm going to take drugs to try to overcome this. Am I allowed to say that? I don't know. I mean like NyQuil and shit. That's going to do it. Peace.
But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now.